All right, kids. I don't know why I say kids. Friends. All right, friends. Chapter 24, The Proposal. Back to business now. Amy wrote her proposal for Congress. It was deja vu. She sat down and went through the checklist. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to propose drastic changes to the plastic industry. I'm not afraid to suggest widespread and radical ideas. These ideas seem unrealistic, but at this point we are but the point we are on our planet, like unrealistic, but that is the point we are at on our planet. We are at the precipice where there will be no turning back and no solution for sustaining life on this planet. These actions must happen now. They need to have happened 10 years ago, but that's unrealistic. We have to act immediately or it will be too late. Here are the changes I propose. 1. Only recyclable plastic can be marked as recyclable. I mean, recyclable in a recyclable plant, not in a laboratory. Products that are technically recyclable at great time and expense and thus will never be recycled will not be marked as recyclable. 2. Products that are not recyclable will be marked with a hazardous warning so consumers know what they are buying. 3. Manufacturers must invest at least 10% of their annual profits to improving recycling and cleanup programs worldwide. 4. Manufacturers must be responsible and accountable for the damages that their products have caused. 5. Within 2 years, no products can be produced that is neither degradable nor recyclable. 6. Companies who use hard plastic products, such as those found in automobiles, must find an alternate solution or a product that can be disposed of in some manner. 7. We must offer buyback programs similar to what they have done in Germany. Ireland is turning plastic into fuel. There is a plasma machine that can safely incinerate plastic. We need to make these machines portable so they can be transported to areas most affected by the waste issues that have no solutions. These incentives must be made and they must be made today. If the manufacturers are willing to help solve the problem that they have created, are unwilling, if the manufacturers are unwilling to help solve the problem that they have created, then they must be made accountable. The meeting continued for some time while members of Congress asked her questions and she answered. When all the questions were responded to, Amy made her way out. She knew that they knew that Bob's show was promoting these proposals and showing all of the terrible events that were happening all over the world due to plastic pollution. The public also knew that someone tried to silence them for it. It was all out there for the world to see. Amy had once again painted them into a corner, and there was no way out except for her way. They would have to do it. Of course, most appreciated what she was doing. They could see the good coming from her efforts. They were just relieved that she was the one doing it, and they had no choice but to do what she wanted. It took the blame off of them, hopefully. 25, Redemption. Make a note here on my little. I sometimes forget what chapters I'm on when I go to download them. Redemption. Clay. Clay stayed in contact with Ted's group the best he could without blowing his cover. He had been asking the questions that most sensible people would never ask. It had occurred to him that someone, somewhere, was pulling the strings and controlling everything, everywhere. But who and why? One night, Ted's phone rang. It was Clay. I'm running out of time, he said frantically. They know about me. But I don't think they know about you. He was whispering now. Where are you? Ted asked. I'm here in New Mexico. Remember this. We can send someone. Give me your coordinates, Ted urged. No, Clay said. I need more time. I'm so close. Ted, this is. He trailed off for a few seconds, then continued. My daughter. I know, Ted said. She is under our protection. Clay sighed. I almost have what I need. Pick me up tomorrow morning at the Hotel 6 near Grenville. I gotta go, he hung up. Did you trace it? Ted asked a colleague. The colleague shook his head. Couldn't. He's blocked. How did he block us from tracing his burner phone? Ted asked. He didn't. It's more likely that wherever he is untraceable. Huh? Ted said, we can even trace our people inside Area 51. I know. It's strange, the colleague replied. Ted and his team got on a jet and headed to Clay's indicated area. They landed at the nearest airstrip and then took a car to the hotel where they were to meet Clay. Ted was quiet. He was eager to hear what Clay had learned. As they approached the hotel, Clay's stomach dropped. Ted's stomach dropped. That was a mistake. Outside the hotel, there were 2 police cars and an ambulance. The team exited the car and approached the scene. What's going on here? Ted asked, showing the police his credentials. He carried an FBI badge for occasions like this. Dead body, answered the policeman. Ted made his way into the room. It was Clay. He was fully dressed in his usual, casual yet expensive attire. Pill bottles were on the nightstand, and whiskey bottles were strung carelessly around the room. Looks like a suicide, the policeman told Ted. It sure does, Ted replied. Hey, he's one of ours, Ted told the policeman. He went off radar a few days ago, and we tracked him down here. It looks like we're too late. We'll take care of all of this, Ted said with some authority. The policeman shrugged. If you need anything from us, just holler, he added, signaling to the rest to leave. Once the police left, Ted and his team began inspecting the room. Whoever killed him did a good job of making it look like a suicide, for sure. The team began turning the room upside down, looking for anything that might give them a clue as to who did this. Ted looked around and asked himself, where would he hide something if he wanted to hide a clue and knew he didn't have much time? He looked inside the pages of the nightstand copy of Gideon's Bible, between the mattresses, anywhere someone might hide something. While pulling a pillowcase off of a pillow, he found a small piece of paper. Written on it was Futurum Nostrum. What does it mean? Someone from the team asked Ted. The future is ours, Ted replied. After seeing to the cleanup process, Ted and his team returned to New York. Ted informed the rest of the team about what happened and what he found. What do you make of it? Amy asked Ted, who was deep in thought. I don't know, he told her. She understood that he did know something, but was withholding it from her, so she decided to let it go. Someone has to tell his daughter, Amy continued. I'll do it, Ainsley said. I kind of like the bloke, he added sadly. All right, we're at 9 minutes. Okay, we're going to finish up. We have conclusion and then epilogue. Conclusion. The majority of Amy's proposal passed. Big corporations pushed back, of course, claiming it was too much of a hardship on them. But consumers were now demanding alternative options to one-time use plastics. The makers of plastic were faced with coming up with new products or being boycotted entirely. They finally relented. Amy wondered, not for the first time, why it was so challenging to get people in power to do what was so obviously the right thing to do. Why is it always a battle? Was it just greed? She sighed. Although most of the population was on board with breaking their dependence on plastic products, Once the changes began, many weren't too happy with them. Amy likened it to someone giving up cigarettes or drugs. They know it's terrible, but they don't want to stop using them. It was a tough time. Bob and Amy's popularity dropped slightly. They continued to broadcast the results of the changes. Beautiful beaches before covered in trash, and after clean and healthy again. The adjustment was difficult, but the masses stayed the course as long as they were shown positive results. It would take some time, but Sal relayed that progress on the pipeline was being made. Amy was relieved. She was aware that some small groups still kept the conspiracy theories alive. They held fast to believing that Amy somehow worked against the common good and had some nefarious motives. She still worried about her safety and would receive death threats from time to time. Is it so hard to believe that I just want to help the world become better? She asked herself. I guess it is, she answered. She took some time and traveled with Ainsley. She helped with beach cleanups and rescued wildlife. She saw firsthand what he did. She figured it was only fair, since she had dragged him into through several months in her world. One cold morning in South Australia, she got a call from Ben. Mara had her baby, a little girl, healthy and strong. Both mother and baby were doing great. Ben was going to make a great girl dad. Amy thought, oh boy, he's going to spoil that kid. She smiled. Ben informed her that Mara and her father were talking again. Amy was happy for her, and suddenly she missed her father. Bob and Nick were doing great in New York. They came to the hospital and were among the first to see and hold the baby. Speaking of spoiling, that kid is doomed, she shook her head. Well, her uncles are going to spoil the crap out of her. Sal kept the pipeline chugging along, and she was thankful for that. She couldn't have taken this time off and work with Ainsley without him. Sal's wife and family were thriving. He worked a lot, but that seemed to work for them. It was clear that they loved each other very much. As far as Ainsley was concerned, she loved him. She would talk They would talk from time to time about marriage. Amy knew it would happen someday, when the world wasn't constantly in need of saving. She heard news from time to time about anti-pipeline protests and groups picketing outside about government overreach. She hoped it would all blow over soon. She was out in the ocean with Ainsley, saving the world for now, and for now, she was happier than she had ever been. Epilogue. This is going into book 3 now, so let's pay attention. 7 people are sitting in a room at a round table. Every chair is taken. They are all present. Stay the course. These little victories don't amount to anything in the big picture. Agreed, but how is she still alive? Someone is helping her. Who? I guess that's the real question. I say we find out. The end. Plastic pollution is like a ticking time bomb. The longer we ignore it, the worse the consequences will be. Jane Goodall. Industrial pollution and the discarding of plastic waste must be tackled for the sake of all life in the ocean. David Attenborough. For more information on plastic pollution or to learn how to do more, please visit plasticoceans.org. All right, book 2 is done. Book 3. Who is behind it all?